to the Heat Speakers Falling.
Welcome to the Heat Speakers Podcast, where passion meets purpose. Join your hosts, real estate Rich Jackson and mortgage. Welcome to the Heat Speakers Podcast, where passion meets purpose. Join your hosts, real estate Rich Jackson and mortgage.
Welcome to Heat Speakers. We are back again, man. We got a great episode. This is going to be a good one, man. There's a lot of learning in this one. Business owners, if you're thinking about business, this guy right here is multifaceted. I think I just made that up. I don't know if that's a real word, but as far as different businesses, super successful businessman. I think 20 plus years of experience. So it's a lot of gems, a lot of gold. Fasten your seatbelt, guys. We got Eric Sandoval in the building. What's up, Eric?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
So you got two different businesses already said. So you got the Herbalife business and insurance.
Yeah. So I've been basically all my adult life, I've been an entrepreneur, So it's been it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
It's a journey. I think that's one thing that most self-employed or entrepreneurs or people that work for themselves.
Yeah. So what year did you start? Herbalife?
So I actually started doing the business about a year after I graduated college. So
we want to date. You want to date yourself right now?
Oh my goodness! So 2001.
Okay.
2001, right?
At least it wasn't the 1900s.
No, right?
So it wasn't the 1900s. So okay.
Yeah. So I graduated. Moved back home. I was fortunate enough to go to school in Hawaii. Was out there for 5 years.
Wow, that's right.
And got a business degree. Came back home. Just like anybody else coming out of college, made the resume, started applying different companies. Unfortunately, since I didn't do any interns or stuff like that in college, no experience, so that was a detriment. But a blessing later on, right? But, I couldn't find work, and I started actually working construction.
Okay.
So, needed the money,
So were you building houses, or what were you doing?
I was doing restoration.
Okay,
Right, and so that was, it wasn't too labor intensive.
So
but
college, you had no idea what you wanted to do, huh? Like, did you have any idea about business? Like, was business?
Well,
ever...
you know what? Going into college, my whole essence was I dreamed of like having a restaurant / nightclub, right?
Okay.
Business, having my own business type thing.
Yeah.
But, once I got into learning all the red tape and stuff like that, what it takes to have an actual business like that, I ended up shifting from management, and I graduated with a marketing degree.
Okay, well, that was good.
Yeah.
You knew you were going to go in that direction, just wasn't sure.
I just didn't know where,
Because marketing, I mean, that's like the foundation of business. One of the foundations, right? It's like getting out there. So do you feel that marketing, going to school, taking marketing classes and getting that degree, did you feel that really helped you in your business career? Or was it something like a bunch of stuff you learned, but then you got into the real world, it was like, wait a minute, none of this stuff applies? Or did it apply? How did that look?
You know what? I think coming out, I didn't feel like it applied, right? Because you're just looking for a job, right? You're looking to get plugged in with the company. And unfortunately, I didn't get offered.
So you applied.
So I did apply. I applied everywhere, but again, no experience,
Facebook,
no background.
Anybody, any companies we know of?
Not yet. But,
this is 2001?
2001, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Facebook.
So,
MySpace.
MySpace was still around.
That was the thing. You should apply. You should hit up Tom, man. Like Tom,
way back. But
man, all the youngsters
parents,
don't know about that.
My parents were already doing MLM, multi-level marketing, Herbalife.
So they were in the business.
They were very successful by the time I came out of college. So I didn't see myself doing that business. And I think this is a great point for people because, I ruled myself out before I even started.
Okay.
Because I had never done sales, talking to people, being out there was something that I didn't see myself doing.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't, but once I started working construction and going to work every day with the same 6 people that were angry all day, hated being there. And I was just getting my life started, I was 26 years old and I was like, man, is this it?
Sure.
But, God has a certain way of working sometimes. And about 4 months in, I'm like, I need to get out of here. And all of a sudden, what I thought I couldn't do was, an opportunity that I'm like, I need to take a look at this. And that's how I I started going to trainings. I started learning about the products. I started learning about the business. I started learning about duplication. I started learning about residual income.
Yeah.
You know, and
that hard labor will make you try to change your career fast. You're like,
sure
wait a minute, you know what? Maybe marketing isn't so bad.
Yeah.
What's interesting is like your parents been successful in the business. Was there something you saw that turned you off or turned you away to where you're like, nah, you didn't want to do the business? Initially seeing their struggles early on and things, or what
it was
it?
an ego thing. Looking back at it now, it was just an ego thing. You know, I felt like since I have a degree, right? I have a degree. I should have gotten offered a job. You know, company should have picked me up, right? But
and because that's interesting that you thought job when your parents are entrepreneurs, right? I always kind of you know what I mean, like, you know, but. Yeah, we just don't know what we don't know, right? You think you know, we're young, and you know that's what college is like, figuring it out. And a lot of times you leave college and you still haven't figured it out, and before you know it, the next day you're 40 and you're like, man, I still haven't figured it out, right? It's like I gotta figure something out.
It's a journey, man. I mean, it's a journey. It's not, you know, I don't think being an entrepreneur or being an employee is an easier road. You know, either one. It's just kind of what's important to you. Right. And as I got going, I realized the importance to me was that I knew further down the line, I wanted to have a family and I wanted to be around for my kids. And, you know, having a 9 to 5, I knew that was not going to lead me to that or be able to do that. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it took me about a good year and a half to really understand the business. I think this is one thing that, looking back at it now, you know, doing 25 years of, you know, working for myself, and advice I can give people is like, you got to give yourself time to learn.
Sure.
Right. Everybody wants to come out of the gate and be successful, but there's so many things that you just,
so much.
I think the personal growth, understanding how every individual works and what triggers you and what you need to learn and stuff like that, you know, takes time.
It does. It really does. So after, so you decided to shift gears, got into business, and so you were like, you know what, let me go back to Herbalife. Did you go back to your parents like, hey, I need to learn the business, or did you go about it a different way? You know what I mean?
Both. I actually used my parents' sponsor at the time to teach me. Right, my parents were traveling. They were working their organization. So in a sense, they were busy.
Okay.
Right. And again, you know, sometimes being a son, you don't want to listen to your parents.
Right. All the time.
So it was one of those things, right?
Yeah.
It was one of those things. So it was like, but Ron, you know, rest his soul, was a great mentor, great teacher for my parents. And I saw what he was able to instill to my parents and drive them. So I'm like, you know, and so that's who I let. That was my mentor. That was my teacher in the beginning.
You had a really famous mentor early on. If you don't want to share that, you were blessed to sit down and have a intimate relationship with
Jim Rohn. Yeah,
Jim Rohn.
Yeah, that was
the famous Jim Rohn.
Wait, for the people that don't know who that is, can you break that down? Because I have
Jim Rohn was a
they could Google Jim
mentor
Rohn.
to the business mentors. You know, he was actually. When you hear Tony Robbins or Les Brown or stuff like that, all these guys learned from Jim Rohn.
He mentored them.
He was actually later on in my career, he was dating my mother-in-law. So that's how I was able to be around him for a little bit over a decade personally.
Over a decade you spent with this guy?
Yeah.
So you must have how was he as a person? You know, we know him on stage giving great information.
You know what one thing I can say about Jim, what you saw up on stage is how he was, you know, as a person. Wow. You know, very, very thoughtful with his words. That's one thing I learned about him. Sometimes I would ask him a question. I remember one time we were on a trip in Carmel. This is one of his favorite places to be at. And I asked him a question one time and he didn't answer me, you know? So I didn't think anything of it, right? And then like a day and a half later, he comes up to me. He's like, Eric, remember that question you asked me at the restaurant? And I had completely forgot about it.
What was the question?
You know what? I don't remember.
Okay.
But it was like, it taught me from him that sometimes when somebody asks you something or you don't know, take the time to learn or take the time to ponder what it was, right? I don't think it was anything that deep, but it was something, I think I think, you know what? Now that I do remember what it was. The movie The Secret had just come out at the time.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you ever saw that movie,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
I
know,
saw
but
it.
it was something in line with that movie, right? And I asked him what he thought about it and stuff like that, right?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, like a day and a half later, he gave me, his thought on the on whatever it was that I asked him.
Did he explain why he didn't answer you?
No, but being around him, he was a very quiet guy, you know.
Really?
Man, you can say man a few words.
Mm.
He used to say all the time, he's like, when you work in public, when you work, you know, in public speaking, you know, you cherish solitary, you know, like being alone.
Right.
So
interesting,
yeah,
man. That must have been awesome, man.
yeah, it was.
Did you realize who you were hanging out
Oh,
with?
absolutely.
You realized that
Yeah,
his
yeah.
impact he's had?
Yeah, when I came into Herbalife, I mean, you know, we used to watch videos of him trainings, right? Because he was working directly with the founder at the time, Mark Hughes. So I knew who he was, you know. It was, but so you know, it was one of those, I don't want to say a godly figure type person, right? But it was like
big role model for a lot
big
of
role
people,
model,
man.
you know. So
What would just for the people out there who've been fans of Jim Rohn forever, what is something that probably the world doesn't know? If you could think of anything, something that the average person would know, something that he liked to do. Was there any wild moments that he actually, you know, he did?
you know what I
enjoyed?
discovered later on, a lot of his teachings, you know, not to get religious or whatever, but they came directly from the Bible. Like some of this,
you
you
can
know,
tell.
like his trainings. I mean, you look at it back now, like now that I'm really, you know, diving into that, you know, there's so much stuff that when he spoke, it was like, you know, the foundation or the root of his teachings, you know, came from there,
Yeah.
you know?
The
So-
Bible is
And
a
he
book
used to
of
say it all. He
principles,
used to say
man.
it all the time when he would speak. But sometimes, you know, when you're not tuned into something, it just goes right by you, or it doesn't land. You know, still to this day, when I go back and listen to his stuff now, and it's like, you know, because my mindset's completely different than when it was, and every time I hear him, you know, today, it's just stuff that I didn't hear or stuff that I didn't understand.
Sure, you catch it now.
I catch it now
because you're listening with
makes
a
sense
different
now,
ear, and
you know,
you're a little bit
it's
more
deep.
Oh yeah,
You know, if there's one thing I can say about Jim Rohn, he used very simple language, but it was very deep, very deeply rooted.
Was he reading a lot? Did you see him read a lot?
Big reader.
Gotcha.
Big reader.
Last thing on Jim, man. Last thing. What's the most? Do you remember the one piece of advice or the most important thing you learned from being around him, just in his presence? What you took from it?
Oh man, I mean, you know, his famous phrase, you know, for things to change, you need to change. For things to get better, you need to get better.
Yeah.
And I still to this day, I have a picture of that phrase in our living room.
Nice.
You know, but it's just one of those things, right? You want things to change, you need to change. You know, you want things to get better, you need to get better.
That's it.
You know,
Yeah. I love it.
so.
Making $1 million now the next day, right after you're with Jim.
That's
Next
right,
day,
yeah.
your business is booming, right? It's like it's boom. Not so really realistically. Talk about maybe from the initial starting up your business. What were some of the early challenges, like the tough grind times? Like, tell me about that, just so the average person could see.
Okay, early
what it
challenges. You know, one, I think being coachable, being teachable, right? That was a challenge.
In which way?
Being where you need to be, right? Going to seminars, going to trainings, right? I tell my team all the time now, you know, I used to tell them all the time, I'm like, you know, seminars they're not convenient for anybody. They're not, but where else are you going to learn?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit of while to understand that, but I understood that the people that were up on stage already had the results, you know, and they were pouring into us.
Yeah.
Right. I just needed to be in the room.
Right.
So
And you can network with people as
and
well.
you can network with people, but sometimes you just have to be around people that already have the results, you know, that you're looking for.
Definitely.
And that's one thing I learned, you know, that was a challenge. Another challenge, you know, just changing my vocabulary.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
In which way?
Understanding who you're speaking with and understanding that sometimes you need to elevate your language and sometimes you need to dummy it down.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's one thing I've learned. I mean, you cannot speak the way you speak to everybody. You have, you know, it
So
was
time
like
and place for it all,
yeah, you know, I learned that, right? Sometimes you just have to simplify your language in order for you to get the message across that you're trying to get across,
Gotcha.
right?
That makes sense.
Or sometimes you just need to elevate your language.
Yeah. It just depends on where
You
you're
know,
at, what environment,
so
what room you're in.
Being able to move up or down, you know?
Looking for that perfect energy boost? Welcome to Step Up Nutrition in Fresno. We are serving up premium healthy shakes and loaded teas to fuel your best self. Stop by and taste the difference today.
Stopping by to show and spotlight a great company, Step Up Nutrition in Fresno, California. You guys have to check them out.
Step Up Nutrition is here to support your active life. Whether you're pushing for that extra mile, we provide the clean energy you need. Stop by and step up your game today.
What was that first so you got a shop now, Palm and
I'm on
Bullard.
Palm and Bullard. Yeah, it's nutrition, Step Up Nutrition.
But like 20 years ago, how long ago did you start the business?
So I started in August of 2001.
Okay, so where was your shop there? Or did you
I
have
did not have a shop. I worked directly out of my car. I went to people's houses.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Grassroots stuff. Like you're in the car. You're
in the car.
selling
And
it
you
out
know
the
what? I
trunk.
used to love it.
Really?
That method of operation, I still prefer it.
So talk about a day in the life of starting out in your car, getting up in the morning, loading up
So
the
I would
trunk.
get in the morning. I had product in my car. I had samples in my car.
And product, we're talking about Herbalife product,
Herbalife
guys. It's
Right,
illegal.
energy,
Not
GTs,
for some
protein
guys, no.
shakes.
Yeah, some people might like, hey, what's this?
Yeah, so
It's not a drug dealer show, but continue, my
but
man.
but I would go and at that time we would go and pass out flyers. We would go to businesses and sample people, right? And then from there, we would go to people's houses and do a presentation at people's houses. I mean, grassroots MLM, right?
Yeah.
What people think of like when they Amway or stuff like that, which they started MLM. But it was just that going to people's homes and doing presentations.
Really.
So
And this is before internet, really.
the internet was just barely getting going.
Yeah,
right.
So how are you finding people? Like, how did people meet each other before the internet? For the youngsters out there, the under
Getting on the street. I would go to honestly I would go to parking lots and I would flyer cars with the excuse of like as people coming out, going and talk to them.
actually talking to people in person.
In
now.
person.
That's-
But it was like it was weird if you're just standing there waiting for people to come out. But if people kind of see you, at that time, nobody cared. It was something natural, right? That people did. Not
people actually
so much today.
had conversations back then.
Yeah, not so much today. Putting flyers on cars, not today. At least seems a little bit awkward, but not at that time, right? But
Yeah.
it was just that was my excuse to hang around there and then just talk to people and let them know what I was doing. Then I would bring them to my car, I would open up the trunk, and I was, I had little cups that I would, shake, put product in there, have them tasted.
So
here's
you're
my
making
card,
shakes right there at the trunk.
right there in the trunk.
Wow.
You know?
Summertime in Fresno?
And this was in Sacramento.
You started in Sacramento.
started in
Were you
Sacramento.
married at that time or
I
no?
was not. I was single.
Single.
Yeah.
A single guy.
Yeah.
Did you have a partner that you were working with?
No.
Okay,
just,
not that kind of partner, but a part.
Yeah, I was starting to build up a group, right? An organization.
Okay, so you're.
But but you got to go out there and get clientele, right?
Yes.
And again, here's another tip for people that are starting a business. You got to get good at retail.
What does that mean exactly?
You got to get good at selling. You got to get good at getting clients, right? People want to build an organization. They come into a thing, like now I'm starting to, I'm fast forwarding now, 25 years later, I started another business,
We're definitely gonna get into that.
insurance and, but, you got to get good at retail. And that's something, because how are you going to teach somebody how to do a business if you yourself are not doing it? Right?
Bomb.
You gotta get good at retail. And that's something that I still to this day I tell everybody.
Yeah.
You gotta learn how to serve clients.
That's the base of getting
That's the
of a
base
bigger
of
business.
any business.
It's relationships, building clients, marketing, all that. Just attract client attraction. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in business. There's a lot of. It blew my mind once I got into business and saw how many business owners been in business for years, but they still don't attract client like new people. Like they still don't have that side of their business going. It's just all
They want to recruit. They want to bring people in.
Yeah, it's just
they
all
want them to do it.
Repeat like family and people that they know and word of mouth. They're
Right.
living off of that, but they're missing out on so much when you got to stay.
And I think that's where a lot of people fail, or a lot of people can't grow
Yeah.
an organization.
Yes.
Because it's like
Stagnant.
you're bringing in people, but what are you going to teach them? You're going to teach an organization, a group, a team, what you already know how to do.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how to go out there and actually get a client, right? Go and do face to face,
Meet new
knee to knee,
people, right? Build
belly button
relationships.
to belly button. Then
Yeah.
what are you going to teach them?
Very true.
You know,
That's real.
So-
That's true.
And I've seen it. I mean, I've seen my organization with different teams, that they just want to bring people in and they just want them to go do it, right? No, you got to go do it together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You got to go do it together. So
They're only going to do what their mentor is doing. Like
they're only going to do
only
what they
grow.
see you doing.
Exactly. If they don't see, they're going to do just like a parent. Your kids are going to do what they see you doing, not so much of what you're telling them. Is what you're doing is what they're
Yeah.
going to follow, the patterns.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good advice, man. So how long did it take you from the car, the trunk, at the gym, chasing people down at the gym to officially opening up your first location? And then like how many
Well,
years?
you know what? I mean, the business evolved. I didn't get what me because we met at my shop.
Sure.
That didn't really develop until 10 years later.
10 years. So 10 years of hard work, groundwork.
Well, it wasn't hard work. I mean, it was just different, right? I mean, it's just like anything else. Things evolved,
Yeah.
right? The nutritional club is what they're called. That concept actually started in Mexico.
Okay.
It was all residential. It was all in house,
Really?
right? Yeah. So when I started doing that here, when we finally figured out how to do that model that was being successfully done in the country of Mexico, to bring that into the U.S., that took a couple of years. And once that finally cracked, like once we started doing that here, we went from,
So you're one of the starters who brought that here?
to
A
I wouldn't
shop?
say a starter, but I
To Fresno?
grew a pretty large organization here in Fresno.
Because a lot of the clubs people see now around there started with you. They don't know, right? A lot of them here locally.
Yeah, my team,
They started
yeah.
here and now they're.
Yeah,
they're-
there's other teams though, right?
Sure,
I'm not gonna say I'm no,
Yeah.
but
That's
I have a
great.
pretty large organization. But yeah, it was all residential, and it was great because with $200 you can buy a blender, you can buy a kettle to heat up water, enough product to get going, So
If you clip this, it'll sound crazy right now. Don't clip
but it was,
don't clip that.
it was so
Some of
much
the best
fun
ones.
because it was so much fun because at that time, this is 2007 or so. It was all residential. You gotta look at it like this, Rich. The market was mainly Hispanic market that we were working, Spanish market. Husbands, what do they do in the morning? Get up, go to work.
Sure.
Right. The wives, stay-at-home moms, what do? Get up, take the kids to school.
Yeah.
And then they're free.
Right.
So we used to use that from 7:30 to 8 o'clock time to like around 11 for them to start their own in-house business. So that's what we did. We showed
Gotcha.
housewives how to serve shakes and teas at their house. All they needed to do was just have a clean living room, a clean bathroom. That's it.
That sounds like a show idea. Herbalife.
People would come and people would come to
Herbalife.
people's houses and they would have the shake, they would have the aloe, they would have the tea, which you still to this day consume at people's houses, right? So a housewife that was staying home, not using that time frame for economical gain, we were showing people how to make money at home. They were making $500, $700, $1,000 extra.
Wow.
And we blew
yeah.
up. I mean, we got to a point where we had, it sounds ridiculous, but we had over 150 houses,
Whoa.
doing this here in the Valley.
That's
Then
crazy.
then from there it evolved to the commercial spots that you are aware of today, right?
Yeah.
So that, things just evolved. But
That's amazing, man. Then that shows the success today. And so years later, you got a nice big shop and running out of there. And but you still do personal calls and things like that, or is it everything at the shop now?
you know what?
Strictly?
Everything's at the shop.
Everything's at the shop.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing, but it's also been a detriment because it gets you lazy. Before I would go to people, now I have people come to me.
Get comfortable.
You get comfortable.
And that's the thing for a lot of business owners who are in the business, they get comfortable. And that's when the business could start slowing down or stagnant because they stopped doing all the things they were doing in the beginning to generate the business, like going out and connecting and just back to the grassroots of marketing and getting the word out. Sometimes we lose that, so it's like we got to refresh our minds and get back in that mode again to generate business and then keep it going. So we can always remember that. Man, shoot. What was probably one of the biggest challenges you had, like in your business of Herbalife business, strictly right now?
Oh man, I still probably the biggest challenge I still have is probably just learning how to work with different types of personalities.
Really? Okay.
You know, I mean,
Like employee wise, or we're talking
well,
about
here's the thing.
customers?
My organization, they're not. I don't have employees,
Oh, okay.
right? They are all independent distributors. Everybody has, you know, they come in, they register with Herbalife, right? But in order for you to come into an MLM organization, you need to register with the individual. You can't register directly with the company,
Gotcha.
right? The company's they're just in charge of making the products and paying the checks, right? So
customers coming in crazy, and you're dealing with all type of personalities.
you're dealing with all types of personalities. You're dealing with, with distributors. You got to learn. You got to teach them, how to sell, how to recruit, how to retain, how to build.
So,
so
is it harder working with distributors or customers? Which one?
Definitely distributors.
Distributors.
Yeah.
Hard-headed, not listening, think they know it all.
It's a volunteer army.
Yeah, and then you got
it's like. Think about it, if you're in my team and this happened, I'm not an easy person, but if I piss somebody off, what are they going to do? They can leave, right?
Yeah,
they can leave.
Yeah.
So I think as a leader of an organization, your job is to make sure that the organization is, number one, making money, right? Because again, Jim Rohn used to say people leave the organization for one or two reasons: because they're not making money or because they get mistreated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everybody making money, everybody happy.
Yeah.
So,
and then you got to kind of like be a coach and motivate, a motivational coach to a lot of people, because and I've even seen in my business, right? Like, you get team members or you recruit people, and you're pouring everything into them. You're training them. You're giving them all the tactics, the ways, the strategies, the whole playbook. And everyone starts off all hyped up, ready to go. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm on it. And they may do it for about a month or so. Mm-hmm. But we all know that when you're starting out anything, you got to keep up that momentum for probably a year at least straight.
Yeah, sometimes longer.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people fall off. They lack the motivation. They lack. And I don't know if it's something that's already built in some people internally. I think it is. Or is there
I think it is
something that could be learned or taught? Or is it something to where they have to have I think they always have a reason. What's your why and all that, right? But maybe it's a combination.
Deep down rooted purpose plays a big factor whether or not you're going to succeed in anything. I mean, you got people. We hear it all the time, right? It's so cliche, right? You have to have a vision of where you're going. You have to have a purpose of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it sounds so cliche, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's really what it is.
It really is,
right? It's like, if you don't know why you're doing it or what the outcome you're trying to get, any little rocks, any little pebble is going to get you off the road.
That's true. What's your reason for hustle,
me
mentality? And you get after it. We're going to get into more what else you're doing.
Well, going back to when I started, I knew one day I was going to be a father, and I wanted to be around for my kids. I wanted to be available,
right?
For them whenever that time came.
Gotcha.
Right. And yes, financial security is important for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people. I know a lot of people that make ridiculous amount of money.
Sure.
But they don't have time to be there. Right. So where's the balance?
True.
Right. I mean, up and down, right? Obviously, I've been in business, it's up and down. I mean, I've had years that has just been a blessing economically, and I've had years that have been very lean.
Yeah.
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 But you learn.
It happens as business. It can be like
business,
that.
That's anything.
Yeah. I always say, like, the times when things are going well and you're being prosperous and all that, and things are booming, that's a season to store up and save for the storms, for the times where it gets kind of lean, right? So, you want to make smart investments during that time. You want to not overspend, but make smart spending moves. That way, when it does get slow and then you do reach those storms and slower times and the market shifts, you did enough early on when you were prosperous. A lot of times when things are going well, we're out spending money, right? We're buying cars.
Very easy to do.
Buying random stuff, going on vacation, boats. And then it gets hard the next year, market shifts, and now you're going bankrupt because you weren't a good steward of the money, the the year prior. You
That,
know?
I mean, I got to give huge credit to my wife on that aspect.
I was going to get into Mrs.
You
Step
know,
Up. Let's talk about Mrs. Step Up Nutrition.
Yeah.
When did you meet Mrs. Step Up? Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Terry.
We actually met in a trip in Europe, you know.
Whoa, what year?
Oh, yeah. 2003?
2 years after you started.
2 years after I started, yeah.
So, yeah, tell me how that worked out. Because her mom
also does
well.
Herbalife, right? And my parents also do Herbalife, and they were over there for
almost sounds like an arranged marriage, bro. Like the king
yes,
and the queen. You know what I mean?
As
like,
you know, it was an arranged marriage,
that's
and
how it sounds.
we got tons of gold in the house and the car and everything in the silver platter.
Right, Prince Eric.
Yeah,
and Princess.
It's a funny story. It's a long story, so I'm not gonna, but
We got time,
into it,
so I got another hour. Or
you know
so,
what?
What you got?
Let me put it to you like this: it's like at this time I was 28 years old, and I was ready to move on to the next stage of my life. And funny enough, I was actually doing a Anthony Robbins 30-day series seminar thing. And there was this one day that, and I've shared this with a couple of other people in my team, right? There was this one particular day that we had to write down everything that you're looking for in a partner.
Okay.
Right? Like, who are you looking for? Because sometimes you say, oh, I want my soulmate. Well, what does that soulmate not only look like, but what is it that that you are looking for, right? And it was like 100 and I can't remember how many questions. I just filled them out question by question by question. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, I know this woman. She just happens to live in another country, right? And then, I actually met that when I was still in college in Cancun at a vacation.
When you were doing it, you were already thinking of her. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Talk about that first time in Cancun you guys met. Was it spring break?
No, yeah, it was an Herbalife vacation. I was in Hawaii. She was also in college.
Mm-hmm.
She had a boyfriend, I had a girlfriend, so it was nothing,
you guys cheated on that trip.
Nothing like that.
we can
No,
talk- it's
man.
20 years
no,
ago, bro.
I didn't. That's one thing I can tell you. No, but I met her there. Right, we hung out. We just, we were there for 4 or 5 days. We just hung out. We were in the same group.
Sure.
So very nice person. Right, I thought she was lovely.
So
I
you're
was
checking her out even though you had a girlfriend.
no,
Right, come on.
actually I wasn't, man. No, actually I wasn't. But
Yeah, I know.
I was. I was.
You gotta put that dog emoji.
But it was funny because I met her there, and as I'm going through all this exercise, I'm like, she was the one that came to mind. I mean, then I found out a couple months later that she was actually going to be in Europe, right? And
How'd you find out?
my parents were good friends with my mother-in-law, or Sara Alfaro, right?
Okay.
And I found out she was going to be going on like a full month vacation with their mom out in Europe.
Wow.
And my parents were also going to be going to Europe, later on that day. So I decided to hitchhike
Hey, I'm gone.
on that trip. Yeah. So, and it was funny because it was like, my dad's like, you want to go, just buy your ticket. Right? My parents have money, but he told me that. He's like,
said,
you want
buy your
to
ticket.
buy your ticket.
That's good. He's just stealing that. Yeah, you gotta get it on your own.
It pissed me
man.
off at that time, though, I'll be honest with you, right? I'm like, what'd you buy that ticket? But, it's like I got to hustle that week. I had to come up with $1,100 in profit.
And you did.
And I did. So again,
It goes and shows.
you gotta have purpose,
That's
right?
Right? That shows you.
You gotta have purpose.
gotta have
it
purpose,
was just
dude.
one of those things, right? But it was like, and then we were out there for 11 days. I got to know her. We went out, hung out or whatever, and 6 months later we were engaged. And
Okay, you're leaving out a whole lot.
6 months later we were engaged, and
Wait, hold on, man.
not
So you-
even 5.
You guys would still have boyfriends and girlfriends at the time.
No. This is
Oh, but-
fast forwarding.
Okay, so
fast forwarding what?
So you guys are just magically single at that time?
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
it was meant to be. It
Yeah.
was,
Yeah, it was one of those things.
It was meant. It just
Yeah, no,
happened.
we've been together for 22 years.
So you guys got married 6 months later?
No, 6 months later we were engaged.
Oh, engaged. That's still fast.
Yeah, I just had to convince her to like me, at the time. So that was.
How did you have? Did you flash some money from the Herbalife?
I had no
spendings?
money at that time, bro. I was still broke. Right, I was making enough money to pay my car and stuff like that, but it was like, I remember my sister was like, "Oh man," she's like, you can't afford her, blah blah. You know how she lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, because she came from something nice, some
So
wealth.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm in love, man. I'll figure it out. You know. And
How'd you convince her, man?
I don't know.
We got a show.
You know, but she was still living
Terry,
in Mexico.
You gotta come on the show.
Yeah,
and
she was
talk-
in
tell her
Mexico. I was
story.
in Sacramento. So at that time, you know, a lot of phone calls. You know, a lot of talking. So,
But she had been here before, though. No.
yeah, she went to you know, she studied 1 year at BYU.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a long story.
No, that's great.
But,
so you
yeah.
get married, boom, and now you guys move to Fresno after that, or how does that work?
We got married. We moved to Sacramento. You know, we had a daughter within 1 year. You know, we were not ready to be parents, right? Because we wanted to get to know each other.
Yeah.
But you know, Sophia came early, and it was a blessing. And you know, but we just never got established in Sacramento, and an opportunity, you know, was presented to us that here in the Valley there was really not that many people doing the business, and my mother suggested, why don't we move to Fresno? You know, she did help us move down here. And then we just, you know, I got to work. I started working at the swap meets. I didn't know people again, you know. Just got after it. I had
So you guys were partners from day one. Like you guys knew you were going to go into business
yeah,
together,
we were.
right? 'Cause
We
you
knew
guys
we were
both
going to do
doing it.
Herbalife. You know, she was already doing Herbalife. Her parents were
Okay.
doing Herbalife, so it was just a
It
matter
just
of
made sense.
yeah.
Perfect match.
But
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, yeah, that's awesome.
So,
And so here we are, man. You guys went through a lot of challenges and now built the business up to where it is today. And it's
yeah, we got the business
still
up
growing.
to, you know, we built a $1 million organization
Ooh,
within 6 years.
wow.
You know,
Congrats,
So,
brother.
yeah.
That's good. Really good. If you guys don't know, make sure you stop by Palm and Bullard. I'm there every morning. Step Up Nutrition.
Much
Man, I
appreciated
start
that
with
you
my
come
tea.
every morning,
This is
yeah.
a Panera, but I wish I had a tea.
Oh wait. So are they the same ones that you brought in that meeting?
What?
The juice or the?
The tea, energy tea.
yeah.
Yeah, it's probably most
Yeah,
likely. They do
yeah.
shakes. The shakes are really
Yeah,
good. I'm
yeah.
all healthy. Go ahead.
If that was one, it was amazing. I just gotta say. I haven't,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the training. Yeah, he sponsored it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he was at
okay,
the
okay.
training.
I
Yes,
did sponsor,
yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really quick before we shift gears to the next business venture, which is super important. Quickly tell people what these teas are about and the shakes, the health benefits of it.
So Herbalife is a nutritional company,
Yeah.
right? Protein, vitamins, minerals, sports line, women's products, men's products. Basically, you know, like as we say, from the womb to the tomb, Herbalife's got something for you, right? At the shop, what we make the meal shakes, right? It has vitamin, it has, you know, protein, 21 vitamins and minerals, fiber, a variety of flavors. We also provide energy drinks. We make protein waffles, protein churros, protein bowls, which people like know them as acai bowls, right? But ours has protein in them, 30 grams of protein. And then our energy drinks, which, you know, you're a big fan of, right?
Yes. I've created my own.
Created your own concoction,
The
your
Berry
own,
Blast.
Berry
Make
Blast.
sure you order the Berry Blast. The Berry Blast. It's amazing. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
that
man.
has about 5 different ingredients, 5 different products in there. Aloe vera, which helps with your digestion. It has a base of green tea.
For the glow too, the skin, right?
Yeah, collagen.
A little rough right now, but
yeah,
you know, it's
we have a lot. We have a lot. So, but the main the nice things about the shops is that people can come in and try the products, and then also we get to conversate with them. We get to figure out, you know, if they're looking to either lose weight or better their health or stuff like that. We can personalize a program specifically for that person.
Right.
We don't. It's not a cookie cutter. This is going to fit everybody.
Right.
Right.
So it's good for the person looking to lose weight. Better than GLP,
absolutely.
that GLP shot.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, there's a product called Multi Burn, and that, you know, the company came out with, and it's been amazing what it's been doing for people. All natural. Right.
What are some of the negative things people say about Herbalife? Like, what do you hear? Like, let's.
You know what? People will talk negative about just about anything.
True.
I've been taking the products since, you know, I've been on the products now for over 30 years.
Yeah, and he's 82. People,
you know.
can you believe that? And look how he looks.
yeah.
So that shows, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, is it for everybody? Yes. You know, does everybody need nutrition? Yes. But are people gonna find something bad to say about certain things? Yeah, absolutely.
Always, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But isn't that true? Man, that's amazing. So let's talk about, man, Herbalife business going, killing it. Recently, or not even too recently, but a couple years ago, you started off a whole nother And it kind of aligns with what your first business is because it's like health, helping people, and making people's lives better in general, right? Let's talk about the next business you're in right now. Just as important.
About 2.5 years ago, been doing the business now for 23 years, doing Herbalife. I've been very blessed. The business wasn't, I don't want to say it was an autopilot, but, growth was not growing, but it wasn't diminishing, very stable. And funny enough, how things happen, right? Starbucks decides to open up, in the same structure, I guess you can say. Shopping center. Yeah. There was a Foster Freeze, and then they chopped that down, and Starbucks is building this place, and they took up so much room, and people couldn't come in to the shop, and business tanked right at the shop, like 40, 50, 60% less.
Really?
And because of Starbucks, because of the
you gotta handle that, right?
I got
yeah, nothing bad as Starbucks, just the whole construction aspect of it. But all of a sudden, I got into panic mode. It's like because I had never thought about doing another business.
Interesting.
This whole time, never.
Really?
I've been presented business and stuff like that. It was just like, nah, I'm good, man. Wow. I like what I do like what I do.
Sure.
Still do it. But when that happened, I'm like, what else can I do? Where else? I mean, what am I going to do to replace the income that I'm losing right now?
Right.
Because again, it was like when you're used to a certain lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
As your lifestyle starts to increase, so do your expenses.
Exactly.
So I'm like, and my grandma used to say, it's a lot easier for you to work more than for you to bring your lifestyle down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
So I'm like, what else am I gonna do? I talked to a couple of people. This is about a 2-month span, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? And this, I gotta give credit to Jenny, who she used to be a realtor. Now she was doing something different.
Yeah.
Called her, had some lunch with her, picked her brain. I'm like, how did that shift happen?
Right.
What did you have to do? Because it's kind of like what I was looking at, right? And so she suggested for me to look at something into finance, right?
Wow.
She's like, Eric, you're great at sales. You're good at sales. Why don't you look into finance? So all of a sudden, I'm like, here we go. Talked to a couple of other people and decided to get my life license, my health license. Completely different language, completely different everything.
Starting from the ground up.
Took the test, got licensed, did the fingerprints, everything, right? And again, here we go, learning a whole new thing.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years now,
Yeah. And so when you started, I know you didn't know much about it, but as you're taking the classes, you're starting off learning. Are you developing a little bit more interest and passion as you're learning it and realizing how important it is? Like, probably initially we start things for one reason, but as we get more information and knowledge, we start looking at it like, whoa, this is some good information. I'm starting to enjoy what I'm learning, and now I can see how I can use this to help other people. And there's so many people who need to know this information.
Yeah, the first thing I did, I bought a policy for myself.
Okay.
I didn't know how exposed I was, right?
So prior, you didn't have life insurance.
I did not have life insurance.
And so go back a few years, right? When you weren't even thinking about life insurance, right?
I was not thinking about life insurance. Yeah, of course.
So,
I had been presented, hey, why don't you get life insurance, stuff like that, and I always brushed it off.
And think about, because this is how a lot of people are operating. Business owners, just regular people. This is the mentality. What was it in your mind that you were thinking like, I didn't need it? Like, what was it that you were like?
I was making good money.
But
You
didn't think of like, what if something happened to me? That didn't even come in your mind.
You know what? Going back on my mind, I think everybody thinks that, right? But at the same time, it's like, you just brush it off, right? Or you don't understand why. Right. And as I'm studying, as I'm learning about policies, as I'm learning about term, IULs, annuities, living benefits.
That's it.
And it was the living benefits that I never knew existed. I saw life insurance as death insurance.
Right. That's what it is.
And as I'm learning, I learned that it was actually, it's not death insurance. It's life insurance for you to use it while you're living.
That misconception, and that's what turns people off.
Yeah.
It's because they just hear, when they hear life insurance, they're just like, okay, death. I don't want to talk about death. I don't want to talk about dying.
Death. Yeah, when
I'll
I'm
worry
gone.
about it when I die. It's kind of what they say. Like,
and that's the same same thought that I had.
Yeah. So no one talks about the way it should be taught,
they should,
which we're about to get into right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Funny enough, I have had people come to my shop and try to sell me life insurance, but they never, again, you're a salesman, I'm a salesman. They never sat down and explained to me the benefits of the products.
Yeah.
They just presented, I can get you this much coverage and it's going to cost you this much.
Right.
Right? And it was like,
And then they're always coming from a place, and that's why I don't like to use sales too much. I like to call us like presenting or presenters.
right.
Because a lot of people are selling, and so they make it more about them, and you could feel it. Like they're saying to do this, do that, but you're feeling like, wait a minute, this dude they just want to make some money.
Yeah.
And that's how I think a lot of people are, and it's not probably even their fault. It's because that's how people were taught. That's where the old school trainings were, like kind of like the shady sell. You know,
I think the lack of training, Rich.
The lack of training.
I think it's the lack of training, because it's like, if there's one thing I'm very thankful for doing Herbalife for these, all these decades, understanding what people don't care about you.
Right.
Let's get to it. People don't care about you.
Your mama and your daddy do.
They care about themselves, right? Right. And they purchase a product, an Herbalife product, or anything, right? A service. How is it going to benefit me, right? When somebody purchases them, that's what they're thinking. How is this going to benefit me? Right. How is this going to better my life? How is this going to give me a better future?
Right. Makes sense.
So I understand that aspect now, right? So as I'm presenting these products to these people, I am trying to educate them. I'm actually educating them of what this can do for them, right? Now and also in the future, and just in case.
Right. And most important, because I know you do it, you probably just brush, is even more important than that, is you got to take time to see what the person's needs are. Yeah. And then you got to, from your knowledge and experience, kind of customize or formulate something that you may think that would work best for their situation and present it that way.
That's what I've been doing all my life with the products.
But but a lot of times these salesmen, they don't listen to the person's needs or what their situation is, and they just start selling them something that probably they don't need or they don't even want.
They can get an upsell from.
So it's like, right. So you got to be able to be like, okay, what's your situation, and whether I make commission, a good commission or low commission, it shouldn't be that shouldn't be it. The point. It should be about what's the best thing to structure for this person.
And I've taken these past 2 years to really study.
Yeah.
Honestly, and I mean, we've been friends.
You got me in the business.
Yeah, really? I got you in the business.
So
but it was like, it was like I really took my time understanding, because I see this actually as more responsibility than what I'm currently doing right now. Because when somebody gets a policy, it's a lifelong commitment. Right. So God forbid that I give them something and 2 years down the road, they realize that I actually just sold them something for my benefit, not for their benefit. And that's something that I was like, I knew I was not going to do.
I really admire about you, man. And I've seen it over and over. And I don't know if you remember, but I don't know, last year sometime, I remember you were debating, or somebody wanted a policy, but you were like, man, I don't want to sell it to them yet because I'm still learning. I want to get it right. I don't want to. And I saw you just putting things on pause and not rushing it until you fully understood the disadvantages, the advantages fully, right? Yeah. And that just shows how trustworthy and ethical you are as a person. Like you're going to make sure as much as you can that this is a good plan for this person, or this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I do intend to keep that same thing, now that you're coming on board, and some of the other people as well. It's just I feel you guys will probably do the same thing. We all have to do this. I mean, because here's the thing, man. It's like when you do business right, those people are going to bring you more business automatically, right? And the commission is the people don't pay the commission. The company pays commission, right?
Right.
And sometimes people think that, you just want to sell something because you want to make money off me. First of all, you're not paying anything to me. I'm doing you a service. The company is the one that's going to pay me because I'm bringing business to the company.
Right.
I'm bringing a product to you.
Pay you for bringing.
But the company's going to compensate me, not you.
So let's get deep into the things that people just do not know. I didn't really know much about, but it's so important. The missing. Let's start with living benefits.
Okay.
So how can me being alive take advantage of this policy today?
So this is what got me excited about insurance. I cycle and I'm very exposed sometimes when I'm riding out in the, God forbid, I'd never get hit by a car or something like that. But some of my friends have gotten into accidents. So living benefits, companies offer what's called living benefits. So chronic illness, chronic injury, Alzheimer's, dementia. If something happens to you, right, these policies will pay out, right, while you're living to cover those needs.
Hospital bills, and
whatever, however you want to use the money. However you want to trigger the money. It's at your discretion.
I might just want to take a vacation. Like, man,
obviously, there's certain things that need to happen in order for you to, to trigger the company to pay you, whatever. But living benefits, I think, is probably the biggest thing that, I got excited about, because I'm like, I got a policy just in case something happens to me, my family's covered. But what if something doesn't happen to me and I get injured? Where am I going to replace that income?
Right.
So that's what these policies can provide for people, can provide for me, can provide for somebody who has those policies.
Wow.
Now, living benefits, you can get them through a term policy, right?
Let's talk about the term. Let's start there, because people don't understand.
Yeah, so
that.
Term policy, I think, is a very basic, it's the foundation, easy. You get a lot of coverage, right? You get a lot of coverage for not that much payment, not that what they call a premium. Mm-hmm. Right. I just helped a gentleman who's 24 years old. He got $500,000 coverage for $60 a month.
And he's covered for $500K.
He's covered for $500K.
And are there living benefits with this?
There's living benefits within that, right?
So yeah. Now let's talk about term. So term meaning you can get it for a 10-year period.
So what term it means is temporary, right?
Temporary.
So you can buy, for 10-year period, 15, 20, 25, 30. Some companies actually now offer 40 years.
40 years.
Of a policy.
So you're covered however many years
you choose.
Right.
Right.
And the cover and the payments could be, like you said, low as it could be $20 a month.
Yeah.
Policies. You'd be covered multiple
very
six
economical
figures if something happens. So
yeah.
it's almost free, and it's a no-brainer if you really think about it.
It
right?
really is.
It's a no-brainer.
Right? It really is, because that way, again, going back to living benefits, it's something that a lot of people, I'd never heard of it until I started reading.
Right. Something happens to you,
I
boom,
think,
you're covered.
I think for me, that is the highlight of it all, right? You get covered living benefits, right? With the term policy. Yeah. Then there's permanent policies, right? Whole life policies. There's IULs, which a lot of people are hearing, the buzz, right?
We'll get at that too.
Universal index life policies that, it's more flexibility, right? Those policies, again, you get covered. You get what's called a death benefit coverage. You can also grow your money within that policy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
right? Which you can also use that money if you need to use that money for whatever reason, right?
Right. Let's backtrack real quick, because we're going to break these down so people can kind of really understand it and grasp it. And maybe right now, even just on this podcast, they might start thinking which one they may want more information about, right? So back to the term, it's sad, and I think about it like, all the people, you guys are driving down, Blackstone or Kings Canyon, right? And any given day, and there's people out there with signs, and it's sad. It's like, someone died, child died, but this died, and they're standing there trying to raise money and just trying to bury whoever it is.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, man, now that I know, it's like, man, they could have just spent $20 a month and they would have had more than enough money to bury them and to all have a lot of money left over. And actually, people need to understand, like, all these multi-million-dollar families and billion-dollar families, a lot of that wealth was created through having life insurance passed down generation, because the great whoever 10-time great grandparents understood that, hey, if I pass, I need to leave a lot of money to the to my offspring. And so they all had that mentality. So they just kept leaving, we're going to die.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen.
Why we don't like to think about it, right?
You know what I mean? But it's going to happen.
It's like the only thing
Why not
promised.
start your family wealth today? If your family's not already, wealthy, you maybe be the first one to say, hey, you know what? Let me just look into this, see if this makes sense. Maybe $20, $30, whatever. That's going to set your family up for life. Your kids are going to cover your loved ones.
Yeah.
To where there's no stress, and it just keeps going down. And like you said, if something, God forbid, happens to you while you're living, you have a policy in place that's going to cover your expenses and some. So it's just like, Why not?
Yeah.
So that's term. And that's just the basics.
That's just the basics.
Just the basic. So then for those that are like, they really understand the importance of it, they can say, well, how does this whole life policy work? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Or even if they're looking to more like an investment type of vehicle or to have their own bank, like an IUL, they can
So whole life, simplest term, you got to think of whole life, right? You're going to, basically you're going to keep that policy for life, right? Until you pass away. But those policies, they develop what's called cash value, right?
Okay.
So you can get like, let's say you get a policy that's worth $50,000 in death benefit, right? You might be paying $100 a month, right? As the years progress, all those payments, all those premiums get compounded. So that policy also grows. So the $50,000 death benefit is there, but all the money that you're also pouring into your policy, that money starts to grow as well, right?
Interest, huh?
It gets interest, it gets compounded. That policy, depending on how many years, right? It can be significant amount of money.
And you can access that money down
and
the
you
line.
have access to access that
Anytime.
money anytime.
You don't have to be sick or anything.
No.
You just want to buy a house. You
The
say, hey,
cash
you know what?
value
That's
policies, yeah.
You can take some cash. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's the nice also, and then the IULs, the index universal life policies, right? Those have more flexibility because you're able to pour more money into it.
Right.
If you have some lean months, you can pay less, right, of what you're committed to paying, as long as you're just paying what's called the your insurance portion. Obviously, we need to sit down with somebody so you can kind of see all this, but that way you can kind of get an idea how it was. But the nice things about those policies, again, right? You have access to your money. You have that policy for 10 years. And let's say you have, just for example's sake, you have $20,000 of cash value in the policy and you need $10,000 for whatever reason, you're able to access that money, right? The nice things about insurance products.
Companies write you a check?
Yeah. Companies just write you a check. Or they just drop it into the account that you've been paying with.
Wow.
Right?
And 20,000 is still kind of there though, right?
The 20,000 still there.
Making
It's still compounding, still growing. That comes out of your death benefit. Right? And you can use that money, tax free, right? Income free for whatever reason.
No taxes. Uncle Sam not touching the money.
Depends on the policies, but yeah. Because you also have to think about it, Rich. You're already putting money that you already been taxed. Right. So you can't get in this country. Either you get tax going in or tax going out.
Sure.
Right. Like a 401k. What are you doing? You're putting money in that hasn't been taxed.
Right.
So when you start pulling money out in a 401k, when that time comes, you're gonna pay taxes on that money.
How much is the tax anyway from taking out from a 401? You know how much?
What do you mean?
How much interest, or how much do they take in taxes? Do you know?
In taxes?
From a 401, say someone wants to pull out a 401.
It depends on your tax bracket.
Yeah.
Depends on your tax. That's something that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not going to pretend I do. But I'm starting to see what the pros and cons of each one. Right. 401ks are amazing. But until they're not.
Until you retire and the market is down, and
like people like you and me who are self-employed. Do you have a 401k? No,
I do not.
Neither do I. No. So an IUL is a great vehicle for you to start putting money aside. For retirement, for you to use it, and you have access to it. You don't have to wait till you're 59 and a half to be able to access that.
Right. I mean, the IUL. There's so many misconceptions too, and misinformation about IULs online that people are feeding into, and it's I don't know if there's anything that sticks out where you want to clear up, but I used to hear, your cash value gets eaten up from your premium because every year with the IUL, your insurance is increased. So eventually it's going to start taking from your cash value.
Now that's where the agent comes in.
Is that true or not?
Your cost of life insurance.
So if you have an IUL,
right, okay, depending on your age, right? Sure. Yeah, the portion of the life insurance portion does go up, very minimal every year.
Okay.
But this is where the agent, like myself, like yourself, right? We need to write up the policy correctly, structure it correctly, so the person, has enough death benefit. Not too much that the cash is going to get eaten up by the insurance.
Gotcha.
It's got to be written up that, hey, this is how much, death benefit you should get, so your money can grow, so the policy never lapses, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on how much somebody's willing to put in, right? How much death benefit they actually need. Because again, the IUL is not for everybody,
Right.
right? It's not.
And then also what's important is it depends on who you're working with, because when I got mine years ago, I got it with someone who wasn't as experienced with IUL, so they didn't write it up correctly.
Yeah.
Had I known what I know now, I would go, I would have opted with someone that really understood it or was willing to kind of take their time and learn how it works so they can set me up the right way. So
And
it's
that was
really
my fear, what you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
like I was taking my time with it because I'm like, I don't want to
Exactly.
screw somebody over, man.
And I wish everybody operate that way. So when then you get agents who write up policies incorrectly, now their client is, not doing so as well as they would like to do. And so now they're making IUL seem like it's a bad thing because they had a bad experience because it was written up wrong from the agent.
And they can
it's not
have a
necessarily
bad
the product, it's the person who didn't do it the right way.
And there's different companies.
Yeah. So
Obviously, not all companies, like I write IULs mainly with two different companies, right? One that if somebody says, hey, you know what, I want an IUL, I want to be able to access my money.
yeah.
Great. We're gonna go with this company. Or somebody says, hey, I want an IUL, but I want it for retirement purposes, right? I want income, steady income for the rest of my life when I'm ready to retire. Great. Then we're gonna write the IUL with this company.
Right.
Because different companies have different benefits when it comes to those IULs. And that's what I wanted to understand and learn before going out and hitting the market. Right.
That's it. That's smart. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. And I have, the people that I got that I'm working with, amazing couple. They've been doing it for 10 years. So they really have taught me a lot real fast.
Shout out to Bianca and George.
Yeah.
Shout out, guys, man.
And the organization that they're with, their platform, their strategy and learning platform is just, it's been amazing how fast I've been able to grow.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Who would you say like an IUL would be for? Who would be a person? Would it be like business owners, or would it be just somebody who wants to
Definitely
grow
business
money?
owners. Definitely business owners. Because we're exposed. Once I understood of it, like last Saturday, I went to about 40 different barbershops.
Wow.
On
one Saturday.
On one Saturday.
Back to the grind, man.
Back to the grind.
Back to it.
Yeah. I'm going back to my grassroots of what I know works. Yeah,
Even at your stature, is still back hitting the ground.
You know what? And I'm excited about it. I really am, because
fun.
it's like, it was nerve wracking. I'm gonna I'll be real, because it's like when you haven't done something for a while, it's kind of nervous walking into a place, and it's like
starting over.
But I realized I'm like, these kids, they're in their 20s, 30s, they're self-employed, they like what they do. But again, I'm like, what if I'm able to at least sit down with them and give them information so when the time comes, they know what they can get.
Exactly.
Because
by the time they're 40, they can be sitting pretty well.
Yeah.
Doing,
This guy
40, 50 years old.
I sold a policy to, I told him, and I'm like, his name's Brian. I'm like, Brian, you're 32 years old right now, right? He's like, yeah, makes good money. He's a barber. I'm like, Brian, who's going to take care of Brian when he's 65?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, what? I'm like, who's going to take care of you when you're 65?
Right.
Like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, if 32-year-old Brian doesn't start thinking about 65-year-old Brian, you're going to get to 65 with no money.
Yeah.
I mean, are you really going to cut? Are you going to think you can be cutting hair at 65?
Right.
What if you set up a plan right now that you can start putting some money aside? So by the time that comes, and I showed him an illustration of what that could look like.
And that's the hardest part, is for youngsters in their 20s and early 30s to think about 45, 50, 55, 60. They're not really thinking. They're thinking about today, tomorrow, next weekend, right?
I was presented life insurance when I was 32.
Yeah.
Imagine
if you had it.
But you know what, Rich? Do you know what the guy said to me? He said, Eric, you're going to die. This was his presentation. I'm not kidding you.
Bro.
This is what he said.
I'll show you.
Eric,
I'm not gonna die yet.
He was like, Eric, you're going to die. I'm like, I don't want to say his name, but I'm like, no,
say his name,
no.
He needs to be
He lives here in Fresno.
He needs to be held accountable right
He lives
now.
here in Fresno.
We're changing lives.
He lives here in Fresno. But
Is he still?
I don't
he's probably
know.
not in the business. I guess.
I don't know. But New York Life. You know the company. It's a great company.
Yeah.
But if he would have sat down with me and gave me an education of what things could look like, I would have bought up a policy
made sense.
then. And it, you know, I'm like, I'm 52 now.
Dang. No,
You know, imagine 20
I had to do my
years.
Kevin Hart impression.
Imagine 20 years of putting into something. How much more comfortable I would be right now. You know,
man, if just.
but he did a terrible job.
Let's play it out. So
Yeah.
20 years ago, right? You would have been say
I was 32.
Say you had a policy then.
Mm-hmm.
IUL, paying whatever. What do you think you would be able to cash right now if you need it? How much
Oh
you think
man,
would have? Just rough.
You know,
roughly.
he was presenting an IUL. He was presenting a product that was. It's like it's $100 a month.
Okay,
know.
if you were doing that from 32,
So-
what would you probably round about?
Oh man,
sitting
I
on?
don't. I mean, ballpark. I would say probably in cash value right now, compound be somewhere between maybe 60 to 120,000, give or take. I don't know. I know that's a big gap.
It
but,
is, yeah.
you know.
But definitely a nice chunk of money.
Absolutely
saved up.
You know, money stayed aside. I mean, just for I don't want to say a rainy day because you know there is no rainy days, right? But
Yeah.
you know, but how much at ease would I be knowing that there's a nest egg right there?
Yes.
You know, if
Yeah.
need be.
Right.
Right.
And just
So
keep building
that's
on that.
that is what I am like going out and going to you know showing these guys you know that are entrepreneurs because that's really what I'm targeting. Right, that's my niche. I'm
Yeah.
like if I can help these people, you know, get something like this, that they'll be able to protect their family. They'll have some coverage just in case something happens to them. They get into an accident, right? God, and if nothing ever happens, they're gonna have money for retirement that they'll be able to utilize
Right.
in their, you know, when they're elderly.
And they could take a loan. They can take it out 80 or 90%, I think, or something up to it of that cash value.
Yeah.
And the money and you're still earning interest on the original amount. So if you got 80,000, you take out 70, you're that 80,000 is still there making whatever percentage the market is making.
And that's a concept that was hard to understand in the beginning for me. Yeah.
It's like, wait, it's like, how is that possible?
How's that
I took out almost all of it, but I'm still earning interest on
the money that I've already
the
put
original
in.
balance,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
in
how
my
it
head,
works.
I'm still trying to figure it out
So
right
you're
now.
still,
so.
you
I'm still
know,
trying to figure it out, but it sounds great.
it's so many. Yeah, the stuff I wish I would have known. You know what I'm saying? Like schools are teaching us everything we don't need to know and nothing we need to know. Like imagine if every kid knew this or was even familiar. You know, then they start working. Like, you know what? Let me put a little. You know,
And-
even if it's $20 a month, 30, whatever I can afford at the time. Let me
And
just
the
start
rabbit hole
something.
goes so much deeper. I mean, as far as
Oh, yeah.
protection,
Oh,
as far as you know, it's like,
bulletproof. So it's bulletproof from like lawsuits and
cannot be
IUL,
touched.
divorce proof,
Any
divorce
insurance
proof,
product cannot be touched.
right?
You know, that's a completely different. And you know what? And also, for those people that are here that don't have a social security or stuff like that, they can get life insurance.
Yes.
You know,
I-10s,
documentation
whatever you got
has
we don't-
nothing to do with life insurance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, because I have, you know, I know people that are here and I don't want to say they're here illegally, but whatever, you know, but they can get life insurance.
Yeah, don't say it too loud, man. I think ICE is posted outside.
I thought,
But-
hey, I felt the ice right now.
Yeah.
I was like, hold on.
So it's a long conversation.
Yeah, no, it's so much. And then there's annuities. That's a big. I mean, I don't know how much you've studied yet. I've done annuities, but how does that compare to a 401k? Like an annuity? In that
Well,
sense?
think of annuities
That's
as
more like a
you
retirement.
know, as your money's protected, right? It's not because the annuities again it's not in the stock market. 401ks are in the stock market, so it's a variable, right? Annuities are not in the stock market; they're in an index account. So as the index grows, right, like a the S&P 500 or whatever index you can choose because you have access to choose whatever you want. There's a floor, right? So you're guaranteed for your money never to be, you know, less than whatever you put in. And depending on how you set up the annuity, whether that be for growth or you set it up for, you know, immediate income, right? Or income later down the road,
Right.
the money grows.
Wow,
but it's
right.
protected.
It's more protected.
It's more
So
protected.
you don't get the down. See, that's
You don't
that's
get the down.
bad part of 401ks could be cool, but I saw a job I used to work before I got into business. There was a lot of old timers who wanted to retire, but they couldn't because the market was down.
Yeah.
So it was, oh man, if I retire now, I'm gonna take a hit. So they have to stay extra years until the market recovers for it to make sense.
Yeah.
It's like
That's crazy. That's crazy.
crazy. You know what I mean? Like if things are low, money is funny. No one's in a hurry
there's a
to
lot of people that are
retire.
coming into retirement and stuff like that. They have 401ks and they can just roll them over, right? They can do what's called a 1035 exchange, right?
yeah.
They can just roll their money
So
over.
you can roll, or you can even roll half of it, maybe.
You can roll whatever you want.
and into an annuity.
Yeah.
To where it's more protected for growth only. You don't get the downside.
And the cool thing about an annuity is you don't have to. There is no health screening, right? You don't if you get a policy, right? You're going to go through underwriting. They're going to take a look at, the biggest factors for getting insurance is your age and your health. With annuities, that doesn't matter. It's just money going in and how you want that money to grow or how you want to use the money.
Right. How old do you have to be to start drawing from that annuity?
How old you have to be?
Yeah.
You can start drawing it whenever you want.
Oh, so you don't have to wait till like 65?
Like when somebody wins a lottery, they
50?
don't get the money. They get an annuity. That money goes into an annuity.
So you can get that anytime. It's
Yeah.
not like set up for retirement age or anything.
Yeah. I mean, different companies have a minimum of how much,
Yeah.
for you to put in,
Yeah,
for you to
yeah.
start an annuity.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I got some more definitely research and learning to do in that aspect, but it's
Me
definitely
too.
powerful. Anything else on life insurance? Like any examples that you've heard of or family, friends, or where if only they knew, you know what I mean? Like, anyone that just
you know what I'm finding out? I think one of the biggest factors that plays for life insurance for people don't want to commit to the payment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the payment that they don't want to like commit to. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been I'm fairly new in the game, but going out there and talking to people and getting people set up and stuff like that, it's one, lack of information. I think it's the biggest one.
Sure.
Lack of information of what policies can do for people and how they look at it, right? And so after that, but it was like, I think it's just that. It's like, oh, I have to be paying for the rest of my life. But the thing is like, if you really think like this, young guy, the 24-year-old guy just got a house. He has a baby, almost a 2-year-old. And I'm like, get it. He got a term to get enough coverage, just in case something happens, his family will have money so they don't have to lose their house.
Right.
Right.
Something happens.
Mortgage protection. Right. You're in real estate. I mean, how many people buy a home for quite a bit of money, right?
Yeah.
A term policy can
help cover
just in case something happens.
Exactly. And the living benefits.
And the
If
living
anything
benefits.
happens while you're alive, in serious injury. Or
That's the reason why I got
disease or
my policy, because of the living benefits.
Yeah.
I love my family. I don't want to die. But,
Yeah.
But if I get injured, where's the income going to come from? And that's what these policies protect me personally.
Right.
So
That makes sense.
yeah,
That makes sense.
it's a lot.
It
It's
is.
a lot.
It is. Man, anything else you want to add, man? What you got? What's your next thing, man? It's like you conquered the Herbalife business. You're about to conquer this insurance. What you got next?
Just
You
growth,
cycle?
man. Yeah,
You've been cycling for a while?
Yeah, I've been. Like I said, athlete all my life. I'm addicted to staying healtty. It's part of my lifestyle.
Good.
But but it, like right now, I'm looking at this next venture of business. And, my goal is to grow it in these next 10 years. Right. I want to build, and I have the luxury of also the fact that I'm able also to grow another organization. So I am going to grow another organization through this aspect.
That's amazing.
Build a team.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But-
Last thing I want to end to what would you say to like the 40, 45, 50-year-old that's just trying to figure it out, like not knowing if they can even start something new, or what is something that you can probably, like, what type of hope can you give to somebody like kind of just like not really knowing they don't really like where they're working, or they're just looking at retirement, or just
what I've come to figure out. A lot of people, they say, well, there's no opportunities out there, or opportunities are hard to find. And what I'm come to find out, Rich, people, you always hear the phrase, oh, you got to go and, knock on doors, right? For doors to open. Doors are open. People disqualify themselves from not going into a room because they don't think they belong in the room, or they don't think they belong in that group. They don't think they belong in that society or that group. Like people disqualify themselves, from doors that are open.
It's all in the mind.
It is all in your mind. And
Yeah.
it's like, again, like for me doing something for so long, you know, I kind of struggled with that in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, like, is this for me? Because I was so attached to a certain identity. Now I'm going to do something different. You know, do I belong?
That's it.
And it was such a mind shift that like it hit me one time, you know, and I'm like, it's not about opportunities not being there.
Sure.
The doors are open. Are you willing to walk into the room?
Your first customer, your first client is yourself.
Yeah.
You got to convince yourself that you
people
belong.
rule themselves out before they even walk through.
Right.
It's like, oh, it's not. You hear all the time, oh, it's just not for me.
Right.
Oh, it's just, you know, it just wasn't me. You know, I didn't see myself doing
making a good living for yourself, helping your family and friends. You know, family is not for you. Like, what do you mean? That's a cop out. It's kind of an excuse, you know, for people not to even try. So once you, and then people, you gotta believe it yourself and know it's true. Whatever you convince yourself of is what people are going to eventually start seeing too. But a lot of times people hesitate because they're afraid of what people are going to say about them and how they're going to judge, whether it's family or friends.
You know, still to this day, you know, when I started doing this, I'm like, what are people going to say when they find out I'm doing another business?
Right. But what are people going to say when I have no money and I'm broke because I didn't go after what I should have went after?
Exactly.
Then what are they going to, you know what I'm saying? Like they talk anyway.
People are going to talk anyway.
They're going to talk.
You know,
that's what people like.
When I was growing, I was very successful. People were talking smack about me. And I understand, it's okay.
Whether you're up, you're down, you're sideways.
But you know, the people that never talk bad about you are the people that are more successful than you. They're cheering you on.
That's another bar. That's huge. I've learned
they're always cheering you on.
The one
people that are always to talk, you know, or stuff like that. You know, it's people because you're making. And I've learned this. You make them uncomfortable.
Facts.
Making them uncomfortable.
Facts.
You know. So
that's true.
Doing something they're scared to do. You know,
because the most successful people are the ones that are pushing you the most. They're cheerleading.
They want
you
to come their way.
They want you to get it. Because you know what I mean. But you're right. The people that are pulling you down, like the haters in the comments and stuff.
Yep. Always.
They're at home playing PlayStation 24/7. They're not doing nothing.
Watching you do what you meant they can do the same thing, but
drinking 2 liters of 7-Up and Coke. They're not. So.
And it's okay, you know. You need people like that.
But those people are also watching too. A lot of times they're watching you more than anybody else.
And you hear it on Instagram, you know, people that are influencers, stuff like that. You know, like, oh, the haters are the ones that watch everything, and it's true.
It's
you know,
true.
I don't post that much on Instagram. You know, I am terrible at it. I got to get better at it. But it's always the same people. You know, I'm sure you see the same thing. Same faces follow your story, stuff like that. You know, they never comment anything. Never say anything, you know, but
no, it's true. Yeah. It's true.
But don't be scared. I mean, it did take me a little while, Rich. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I kept it quiet for quite a few months because I'm like, well, what are they gonna say? You know, because my identity was so attached to, you know, what I was doing. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm providing for my family. I'm growing, and you know, I'm growing another business.
I think a lot of times what we forget is we are not who our business is. Nothing. That doesn't define us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Bible, God gives you your definition of who you are.
Yes.
And I'm a follower of Christ first. That's it. Yeah. And everything else I do is going to be in line with that. Whatever business I choose, just know those principles that is my foundation, that I built my foundation on, is going to apply in everything I do.
Yeah.
So you can look at me who you want, but no matter, you know, you should look at it like, they're doing business with you because they know you. They know Eric's a good person and trustworthy, ethical. So I don't care what you got, what you're selling. Oh, I know he's honest and ethical. Let me at least see if it's something I could use. Yeah. So that's kind of the mind.
And everybody that I have been able to help out is people that I know already for the same reason. You know, I built a reputation, and I've worked hard. I've worked hard to build that reputation. Yeah. You know, and it's been a struggle because sometimes, man, you just want to cut those corners. I've, you know, for a long time in Herbalife, going back to my Herbalife, is like the fact that my parents were very successful, the fact my mother-in-law is very successful. I knew if I did something wrong, it wasn't going to be seen like, oh, it was Eric. It was going to be seen like, oh, that's, you know, such and such kid that's doing that. They were going to be throwing dirt on my mother-in-law. They're going to be throwing, you know, dirt on my parents because something I did. So I always stop myself from doing it. Yeah. And now it's ingrained.
It's probably harder to come from a successful family because it's like now you get that, but then it's like pressure on yourself. Like, man, I can't do less, or I have to do almost as good. I gotta I can't fail. You know what I mean? So, but if you come from parents that haven't done anything or a family, it's like, if I do it, cool, I'll be the first to do it. And if I don't, if I don't, at least I tried, and well, at least they never tried anything. You know what I mean? So it's not as much. It's not like the pressure. There's no eyes.
I got a question though. Like, so if your parents weren't doing like Herbalife and everything like that, what do you think you would be doing right now? Like, what you could see yourself doing?
That is an amazing question. I mean, my whole family's always been entrepreneurs as far as I can back. You know, awesome. They were always trying to do a business of some sort.
That's awesome.
They never, at least my parents and some other uncles, they were always doing business. I never saw them being employees. So I didn't know anything else but like, if you want money, go out and make it. If you want this, like, even as a little kid, it's like we ended up, I was born here in the US, and then we moved to Mexico when I was 3, and then I came back when I was 10, and then I needed money, and some kid came to my house selling flowers, and I'm like, hey man, where do you buy the flowers from? And I started selling flowers. It was just one thing.
Oh, you sold flowers too?
When I was a kid, I'm like, I didn't know. I'm like, hey, if he's making money, I can
so
make it.
That's his answer. He'd be on the corner selling roses and flowers on Valentine's Day.
I did, It was, I don't know. I mean, life has certain ways of just taking you, right? So you just got to go roll with the punches. But
again, I know I don't know your parents, but I do want to shout them out, because like, to instill that into you, for me to meet you now and still to be a positive thing, I'm thankful to meet you as a person, because especially you're instilling that into like more generations. You're building that. You're letting everything that you're doing, what you came from, what you learned from your parents, you're letting that flourish through your life and letting it build. So
thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those things. So
yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure, my man. I mean, there was so many gems and nuggets, man.
This is a pleasure. So
there's gonna be a lot of clips on this one. You, man, very inspirational.
Outside of my comfort zone, but again, doors open, you got to walk through it. I'm doing it. So
sure. You want to shout out how to reach you on Instagram or whatever?
So again, Eric Sandoval. You can find me every morning, Monday through Friday, at Step Up Nutrition. I'm Bullard and Palm. Making shakes, making energy drinks, having conversations, and then, if you're ever thinking about, taking a look at what life insurance can do for you and stuff like that, I would love to sit down and, go over all that information with you guys. So thank you guys, both of you guys, for having us.
And by chance, do you guys like, because I know you're just getting started, do you have like a website that if someone wanted to go to, is it that type of thing? Like, they can just like say if they see this, they can be like, I'm gonna go check out his website for insurance and like get some more information.
Yeah, we work with a company called Experior, so we can definitely provide that.
Okay, awesome.
Awesome.
Lesson.
Heat Speakers. See you guys later.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Big thanks again to Eric Sandoval for being a guest on the Heat Speakers podcast. You have got to come try this out. Say that Lamore, the New Vibe Productions, sent you.